Did taxes today. That's kind of the bulk of the day. Cleaning, laundry, continuation from yesterday. It's kind of the bulk of it, really. Nothing too major happened today. Didn't leave the house at all, except to bring the trash cans back in. Today's prompt is my biggest mistake. I have a feeling this might sound weird, but I need to define mistake. An action or judgment that is mistaken or misguided or wrong. Buying a brand new car when I had no possible reason to. Yeah. That's gotta be it, man. Because that was thousands of dollars that I couldn't pay back. And it ended up getting repoed. It ended up being, auctioned off for a fraction of what I was due on it, what was still due on it. So I think I ended up with like 16 grand of just like money that I owed to fucking Nissan for, until they wrote it off. I don't think I ever paid that. And because they wrote it off, it turned into a big ass stain on my record. And because of that, the next car cash didn't even consider fixing it up, which is ironic because like I would have fun with that car now. I would still like to have that car because that was the Integra. Literally all I needed was brake lines done. Like everything else was fine. It just needed new brake lines. Which is ironic because I'm like, regardless of the cost, I think I'm almost like semi-confident I could do it myself. That's the funny thing. Yeah. See, it's the reason this is hard and like complicated for me. That's why I had to look it up to kind of give myself a real place to start, because I don't believe in regret. You know what I mean? Like, you could feel bad about something that happened. Well, let me rephrase that. I guess maybe not the concept of regret, because I think that is feeling bad about something that happened, like, but like dwelling on regret. Like regret shaping future decisions and actions. Like, I don't regret any of the things I've done, but I regret any negative effect that it might have had on anyone else. Does that make sense? Again, that's not something I can change. It's not something I can undo, and it's most likely not something I can make up for in any way. But yeah, just like the idea of dwelling on regret, dwelling on like, oh, this thing that happened, like, oh, I wish I would have done it differently. Even the car, like, because I very much believe that everything that you go through makes you who you are. So without having future knowledge, it's one of those, like, if I hadn't bought that car, I wouldn't have bought the Integra, I wouldn't have bought the Galant, I wouldn't have bought the Escort. Before that, like, I would possibly never have had to, I possibly would have never had to move in with my girlfriend at the time, or possibly would have never had to move in with a former friend who is still kind of an asshole. Like, yeah, like, there's a lot of things that could have gone differently, and then would I have been where I needed to be to meet my wife. Like, I always talk about, if I could go back, what's the one thing? Like, if you could have one thing that you could ensure would happen, I would meet her. If anything, I would meet her sooner. But even that's a little dicey, because it's like I said, everything someone is is built on their experiences. And it's like the part of me that wants to protect her wants to go back and like stop bad things from happening to her. But then would she be who she is? And then it's like, do I sacrifice my relationship with her for her to not have gone through some of those traumas? Because I can't stop all of them. Because if I went back to the earliest, her childhood, I would still be a kid and I would have no power over that because I would be overseas. But it's like, yeah, if I could go back and ensure one thing happens, like if I could only change my life and only affect my life, I would make sure that I met my wife. Because I would sit down and plan out, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna not do this, but I still need to come back to, like timeline, or draw the divergent timelines and plot it all out just to get back to the same point, but with more money, more financial stability. That's really the major thing. On a financial level, my biggest mistake is that car. Because I had an opportunity to buy, because I was really sold on this idea that I was going to buy manual, and then I was gonna go get a Corolla S, which is like the second year it came out. I was gonna get a Corolla S, and I wasn't approved, and they were like, well, we can shop it around, blah blah blah, but it's not going to be less than 11%. And I was like, you're an insane person. Well, no. The first place said 11. Then I went to another Toyota, and they were like, we can try shopping around, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, it wouldn't be under like 11%. I was like, you're an insane person. So we left, and we just literally, I hadn't even considered Toyota or Nissan. Stopped at Nissan, and they were like, 2.9. I was like, 2.9 is acceptable. That's reasonable. So they basically threw the car at us. All sorts of extra bolt-ons and shit, fucking undercoating and all that other shit. Yeah. And if I had not purchased that, I mean, just consider I paid for, it's a 2004. It was repoed in 07 or 08. So we're talking, I paid for at least 3.5 years. Paid $430 a month plus insurance. But when I was at that first Toyota dealership, they were like, "Well, we got this used, not Passat, Jetta. We got this used Jetta. We can get you approved for that for sure." And I was like, "I don't know." Blah, blah, blah. They were like, "Well, if you can get a cosign," and I was like, "I'm not getting a cosign for a used car," which, by the way, would have been way smarter of an idea because I think it was only like 16 grand. No, I think it was 10. It was 10 because the Toyota, the Sentra or the fucking Corolla was 16. No, I think it was 10. It was 10 G's. Yeah. If I'd have bought that fucking, I was just talking about this with Hottest. If I had bought that fucking Jetta, it'd be a whole different trajectory financially. Would it be a whole different trajectory elsewhere? Yeah, I mean, if I didn't have future knowledge, who knows where the fuck it would have ended. Who knows? Really, no way to fucking know. But, yeah, if I could go back, pick a moment, and drop myself in with X, not like, write out some information. I mean, I'm not going to stop 9/11. There's no way. But if I could just affect my life, yeah, that would be it. That would be the moment. Literally. That would be the moment. Maybe even earlier would have just bought the fucking Cavalier from Hottest for like, what was it, like $3 grand? Super fucking cheap. Yeah, that would have been the move. That would have been the real move. Yeah, that would have been the really real move. No, but see, like we were all. My mom was in this whole fucking mindset of like, oh no, you need to buy a new car. You can't just buy other people's old stuff. And it's that fucking old Balkan bullshit. See, it infected me, and I didn't even realize it. It was all about having cool, hotter, better, more expensive or shit. Dumb, dumb, annoying. That's what it really is. Yeah, that's my biggest mistake. Buying a brand new car. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. That's a hard one. It's a hard one. What's this one? What do you do? That's day in the life of a. That could be interesting because I'm gonna film tomorrow. I'm gonna possibly film a couple videos tomorrow. Also taking a day of. It's also a therapy day, so yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Yeah, that's all I got for today. It's just shy of midnight. I'm gonna be going to bed at midnight for sure, because I want to make sure I want to try to wake up at 6. That's gotta be my new wake up time.